Today we are talking about Season 4, Episode 5, Dirty Harry. In this episode, the death vagina strikes again. Angel uses syphilis, it's super effective. Rita finds out Dexter still has an apartment, which is now the doghouse. And Dexter finds out that Trinity is more complex than he thought. What did you guys think of this episode overall?
This one didn't really take me in too much. I kind of zoned out a little bit during this one. I think it was helpful with moving the plot forward of the season. And there were some interesting little things here and there, but overall, like, the only thing I thought was interesting was right out of the gate when we get the answer to the cliffhanger of what happened to Deb and Lundy from the previous episode.
I really liked this episode. I thought this one had a lot going on. I mean, there were some down moments. We still have the Angel and LaGuerta thing going on, and that's as boring as all get out. But I really thought this one had some good tension. I was emotionally invested. We had some good emotional stuff going with Deb. I thought this one was pretty good, pretty solid.
I really liked this episode. It did have a couple drawbacks, which I'll get into later, but overall, this was the transition of the season to shift its focus really towards Trinity.
Yeah, okay. Well, the episode starts with Dexter arriving at the scene of the shooting in a panic. Angel tells him that Deb is alive. Dexter thinks to himself, if Deb dies, I'll be lost, which is a phrase I'll bring up again sometime. Lundy was a worthy adversary. He deserved better than to be gunned down in a hotel parking lot. Can't help but agree with that either. Dexter figures out that it's weird that Lundy was shot twice, but Deb wasn't finished off. Why did they leave a witness? The journalist, Christine, shows up to offer her condolences to Quinn. She says she's not there for a quote, but then immediately goes after Angel for one. And when she asks if it's the vacation murderers, Angel sees a play and tells her to mention that one of the vacation murderers has a serious, untreatable case of syphilis. So that's our opening scene there.
Yeah. It just seems weird that he would immediately jump to an STD. Just like, hey, they have syphilis.
Oh, it's true. They talked about it in a previous episode.
Oh, I guess I must have missed that one.
Yeah.
But I was like, wow, why would he just randomly have that on the
Yeah, because they were looking for... Because the guy of the couple had to disclose his STD to all his past girlfriends, and they had that in a file. Mm-hmm. So they were going through all of his past girlfriends to see if they could find a lead on him, and none of them had worked out. And then Angel had the idea that maybe he hadn't told this new girl that he's with that he has untreatable syphilis, and he was right. He had not told her about that. So Dexter gets all of Lundy's materials on Trinity. Somehow, Miami Metro was not in Lundy's room during the crime scene at all.
It's Miami Metro. I mean,
they just didn't.
Why be thorough?
They didn't lock it down or gather evidence because, hey, it's all the way over there.
Yeah. There were stairs involved.
There's walking. There's crime scene tape.
They probably put one of those tape things over the door to the entrance to the hotel, and people got past it, and that was it.
Yeah, well, Masuka was too busy just looking at Lundy's dead face the whole time. Did you see how many times he was peeking? He'd have the little sheet pulled up and looking at his face, and you're like, Masuka's just Masuka.
Yeah, so. I think it's they didn't have Keith Carradine appear in this episode, so it's just kind of this awkward thing where they have to keep him covered and still have it look like Masuka's interested in what's going on, but they can't show anything, so...
The money ran out, everybody.
Yeah.
I do want to say that I really did love this opening scene. I thought this was probably, for me, one of those moments where it's from the cliffhanger from the previous episode was so satisfying to just see Dexter come in almost guns blazing. I thought he was going to take that cop out for a second. The one who would put his hands on him. I was like, "Boo!"
It was
Dexter.
Coming close, yeah.
So let's talk about that cop. Miami Metro is so bad that the one cop that actually does his job correctly and blocks off the crime scene is skewed as the villain here in this scene. Like, the audience is supposed to feel like, well, this guy's being a dick.
Yeah.
He's like, let him go. He's one of us. And he's like, he doesn't have credentials. And he's like, I don't care. You want to be back on desk duty?
Yeah, and Dexter even says, like, I have my laminate and my ID in my car. And the cop's like, okay, well, until you have those things to show me, you can't come in. And Dexter says, like, the absolute wrong thing, which is, well, that's my sister in there, and I don't know if she's dead or alive. And he's like, yeah, no, we're not. We're not letting you in.
Competency is punished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy definitely moved on to a more selective police force, I guess.
Yeah,
So.
well, he's a crossing guard now, I think. They put him on crossing guard.
In Miami.
Yeah.
Did a great job.
Yeah. Only 17 kids have been killed on his watch.
Right.
People die in Miami. It just happens. Trinity is a dick about not having diced tomatoes in his Denver omelet because he's a monster.
And he has a right to be. Yes. Come on. That's all. It's a simple ingredient.
That's acceptable. Like, they had one job.
Yeah. It's all he's asking for is a little diced tomato in his omelet. It's not that big of a deal. Ugh, I love Trinity. I'm too
And really, her resolution wasn't very good. I mean, I'm just going to give you a side of tomatoes. That doesn't make it the right omelet. So I totally get it.
Yeah.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Rita gets a call meant for Dexter about some issue at the apartment. Dexter's busted for still having it. Deb wakes up. Her wound did not require surgery, although she has like a 7-inch long gash in her lower abdomen. She tells Dexter she was shot first and then 2 more shots were fired.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that would have required surgery, no matter what, but I guess, again, Miami Hospital's just as good as Miami Metro.
Yeah, you would think that, like, there'd have to be at least some kind of a bowel rupture with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think any shot to the abdomen is probably going to require some kind of extensive intervention, just saying.
Yeah.
Right. There's not a lot of places you can get shot on your body, even if it goes through, that it's not going to ruin something.
Yeah.
And get super infected because down there you got all the bad stuff that mixes in with the good stuff, so.
Pretty much.
Anton arrives while Deb is in the bathroom and thinks the worst. Dexter tells him she's in the bathroom and he runs in. That beat was just hysterical, where Anton comes in and Dexter just kind of like, hey, and Anton like starts to freak out and he's like, oh no, she's in the bathroom.
And then he goes in there and it's like, that's pretty personal moment. Like, that's like,
yeah,
I thought that was weird.
He just goes in there and gives her a hug. I'm so glad you're okay. He's like, get the fuck off me.
Yeah,
we can hug later.
Just because she's going to the bathroom, I assume she was pooping. So I'm just, like, if he walks in on that, it's a pretty close relationship.
Well, she's on an IV drip, so I'm sure she has to pee like every 80 minutes or so. Those things make you pee. Anton arrives while Deb's in the bathroom. Oh, I said that already. Rita arrives and busts Dexter about the apartment. He gets a temporary reprieve due to Deb being hospitalized.
I was going to say, I was like, is this the time, Rita? Is this the time?
Yeah. Well, we come to a part where they actually have like an adult conversation for the first time about Dexter lying and all of that I thought was a fairly good development for them, but this wasn't the part. So Deb tells Anton that she slept with Lundy. Anton tells her he'll stick with her, that he owes her that, but she declines and officially breaks up with him.
About time. I'm ready for Anton to be out of the picture.
Yeah.
It's a waste of space.
I agree with that. I think it was not very. It was unlike the show to not drag that decision out for an episode or two, for her to just instantly make the decision. But I'm glad that she did. I'm glad it wasn't like a episodes long thing where she finally decided to tell him about it. So.
Well, and I don't think anybody in the audience ever cared enough about Anton that we needed any kind of dramatic heft thrown into this moment.
No, we are all Team Lundy. As soon as Lundy was back, we were Team Lundy. And now that Lundy's dead, it's like, Anton.
And everybody was kind of Anton anyway from the beginning, so.
Yeah. LaGuerta went around Angel and told their bosses about their relationship. Because she's the worst. Angel tells everyone about his cunning syphilis in the paper move. Dexter returns to his apartment and studies Lundy's tapes and evidence. He and Harry conclude that Trinity killed Lundy and nearly killed Deb. Harry is pissed that his daughter was shot and wants Dexter to take Trinity down.
So this episode, this is one of the things I was talking about as a drawback. This episode really removes Harry as a flashback and kind of brings Harry in as the Dark Passenger. Because in this episode, he makes mention of the Dark Passenger earlier being a separate entity from himself, and then in this talk, Harry's in the now talking to Dexter, and he also mentions some stuff later that Dexter didn't realize, almost like he is a completely other person in Dexter's mind.
So, yeah, my understanding of Harry in the show, as opposed to the book version, is that he is the part of Dexter's personality that he associates with his father, mainly the code of Harry. And he mainly serves as Dexter's conscience. He's like a little Jiminy Cricket, played by James Remar character. And I think with this one, what they were going for was, because that aspect of Dexter's persona is his dad, they also made his dad the part of his personality that was extra pissed off that Deb was shot.
Which I understand, but in a later scene, Dexter is going through evidence and he's like, I missed something, and Harry pops up and he's like, there's a tape in the tape recorder in evidence that was on Lundy's person. There's no way Dexter could have known that. I mean, he might have inferred it in his subconscious, but to me it was like...
It's deductive reasoning. I mean...
Yeah, he says, this is your tape recorder, where's Lundy's? Yeah. And then Dexter goes, oh yeah, it's still on him. And so it's like he jogged his memory... But the way he said it was interesting, yeah.
Because I mean, both of those voices are Dexter's voice. It's just James Remar plays one of them. Yeah. I agree that it's like inconsistent to how they've used Harry in the past, but I don't think it was necessarily wrong to use him that way. If he had just come out and told Dexter like, Trinity is this guy that looks a lot like John Lithgow and this is his address, and like that would be over the top. But the fact that they're both able to use the deductive reasoning that Dexter has and the extra information that Dexter knows that he has all these tapes and that there's probably the most recent tape is still in the machine and was still on Lundy when he died. It's probably accidentally turned on the recorder while he and Deb were together, so that's going to be a fun listen.
Here's an interesting question. Which do you prefer, the flashback Harry or the sort of in the now consciousness Harry?
I don't really distinguish between the two, because in the now Harry is the conscience character. Flashback Harry is literally Harry. It's Dexter remembering something that Harry's done. So, they're actually, I mean, they're two different. The same actor portraying two different aspects of that character. There's things that Dexter remembers, and then there's things that his conscience is telling him to do through Harry's like likeness on the screen for the audience to see. Otherwise, it's just Dexter talking to Dexter.
And they're both essentially pretty much serving the same purpose, but in a different. Not in a different way, I guess, but, well, yeah. the cinematically, one is in the now and one is a flashback, but they're all trying to serve him information in some way.
Right. I think the way that they use Harry is fine. And I do think that there is kind of a role reversal here for a little bit, where Harry's the angry one and Dexter is Dexter's more the voice of reason, or the more calm of the two.
Mm-hmm.
So Trinity then has the creepiest shopping scene for a hammer ever. Dexter's
And
figured
only
out.
Lithgow could make that look so good. I mean, only he could make that. Yet another scene where it's just like nobody else could have been as perfect in this role.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good.
He was super pissed off, almost like somebody had fucked up his Denver omelet.
Don't mess with a man's omelet. I get it.
It just his day spiraled.
Yeah.
Dexter has figured out the office building is the site Trinity is likely to strike. Harry tells Dexter that he might not have everything. They don't have Lundy's recorder. It was on him when he got shot and probably has a tape in it. We just went over that. Quinn gives Christine, the journalist, La Passion.
Which was really funny because, like, his head was nowhere near where it should have been. It was like the worst. It's so distracting. I was like, I can't watch this.
I tried not to pay attention so much to where his head was. I tried to just let it play out.
You guys were probably looking somewhere else, would be my guess.
What's funny, the way it was shot. Well, yeah, because
Pardon my tits.
Pardon my tits. The way it was shot was really funny too, in that it starts on her face, it pans down and shows the back of a man's head, who we assume is Quinn, and then it pans back up, and when it looks like a guy comes into the bed from the left and lays down next to her. So I think Quinn may have had like a stunt head hired to do that job for him. Like Desmond Harrington wasn't going to pretend to do that.
Or maybe Quinn's twins, and like Quinn was just hiding under the bed and just popped out while the other one went down. Yeah. Happens 1,000 times.
Yeah. Deb is going to convalesce in Aster's room. Deb is refusing to take her pain meds and is in excruciating pain. Dexter and Rita actually have an adult conversation about why Dexter can't get into the conversation about his apartment now.
Why did you like this conversation more than others between them?
Because Rita didn't just let him off the hook. She said, we have to have this conversation, and I understand you've got other things going on and all of that, but, like, we're not okay, and we need to have this conversation. She was more assertive about it than she usually is. She usually just kind of looks flustered and lets him go. And in this case, she was much more active in the conversation. Angel and LaGuerta make up, as if anyone cared. Dexter steals Lundy's last tape from Miami Metro Evidence.
They've got that on lockdown.
Yeah. They actually had a scene. They actually decided to devote a scene to how he tricked his way into Miami Metro's evidence to get that tape out. And it was just as amazing as it could be.
Took zero effort.
Yeah.
I just want to say I'm glad that Angel and LaGuerta are friends. I believe in friendship, and I think it was important that they made up. So I care that they made up because friends. Okay?
They even shared a bagel, man.
They didn't really share a bagel. She cooked a bagel and he stole it.
Well, I thought he just took one half. Like, I assumed she had the other.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
That's what friends are for.
I like that you're looking for something positive that happened with LaGuerta and Angel. But
Yeah.
Like, we
they
have
still
to
exist.
make
They're still
we
there.
have to make a reason for this to be happening.
I was still fixated on Christine from a few scenes ago, so
I'm probably the only one who watched the rest of this episode.
Trinity gets a tour of office space from the lone security guard. Rita asks Deb if she knew Dexter kept his apartment. She didn't. Her answer is actually, what the fuck? Deb blames herself for Lundy. Rita says she shouldn't punish herself. She noticed Deb's pain pills in the trash. This is another scene that we get so infrequently on Dexter, where Rita and Deb had a conversation. Who knew? It's weird that they don't talk more often, but they don't. So it was nice to actually have the two of them talking. They were talking about a man, so it doesn't pass the Bechdel test, but at least these are two characters we like having a conversation for once.
And Rita proved that she's more observant than any of the detectives in Miami Homicide. She actually did detective work in this scene. It's insane.
Yeah. Dexter hears Lundy's description of Trinity from when they bumped into each other. Miami Metro gets called to a shooting. The woman of the vacation murderers killed the man with syphilis. She didn't kill him with syphilis, but she killed him because he had syphilis.
Because of syphilis, yeah.
I still hope they put that down as a cause of death. Cause of death, syphilis.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
Failure to disclose is what the cause of death was. Quinn tases her into custody. He calls Deb to tell her they caught her shooters. Matthews tells LaGuerta she has to transfer Angel out of homicide so their relationship won't be part of a court case.
Hey everybody, Matthews is still alive.
Yeah, he's been gone since season 2.
Yeah, where has he been? Yeah, what the hell? Why even bother?
I think what happened was they could only afford either him or Keith Carradine. So
Probably. Interchangeable.
now that Lundy's dead, he's back.
Bring in the old white guy, then switch out for the other old white guy.
Yeah. Everything's fine. Deb calls Dexter to the parking lot where she and Lundy were shot. She tells Dexter to get his shit together and not screw up his relationship over an apartment. Deb has finally realized that she is the carrier of the death vagina, and she fully breaks down.
Can we take
This
a
was
minute?
a really good scene. A really good scene. We knew eventually she'd recognize that she's the death vagina, but the scene was so well done, and Jennifer Carpenter really, I may have almost shed a little bit of a tear there. She was pretty convincing with her little breakdown.
Yeah, she really brought it in this scene, and it made me appreciate her character on a whole nother level.
I glossed over this scene. I don't remember that at all.
You're the worst. You're the worst.
You were still wrapped up in Christine's scene from earlier. It's fine.
I was just thinking about that head placement.
I thought it was really good. I did think it was weird. They were standing sort of shoulder to shoulder. Not quite, but that's kind of the way they were. Like Aaron and I are now, standing next to each other.
For a second there, I thought you were talking about Christine and Quinn.
No. And
we're still trying to figure out the placement.
Deb is completely breaking down, and Dexter's standing next to her and just kind of looking at her and, listening to her. They never did that as a two-shot when she's actually breaking down. It was always either all Jennifer Carpenter or all Michael C. Hall. And so there was a bunch of it where when Michael C. Hall was talking, she sobbed every time he took a breath, and they weren't showing her doing that. It was just happening off to the side. So I don't know if they had to cobble it together because she could only do that once or twice probably, and before she was completely spent, at the whole breakdown scene. I just thought it was a weird way to shoot it.
It was very strange, weird cuts, and kind of took away from her performance there, but yeah, I thought she still killed it. It was great.
Yeah, that was, I think, our best scene from Jennifer Carpenter all along. And like you said, we kind of put her in a box because she's kind of become, a caricature in some ways. Because, okay, we're going to have a Deb behavior. We're going to have another Deb behavior. And look, it's Deb doing this again. And it kind of took her out of that. And I don't know. It's really, really good scene, good performance from her.
Yeah.
Humanized the character.
Yeah, everyone she's dated has died. So,
She eventually had to have some kind of visceral reaction to that, you would think.
yeah.
Anton escaped. Anton barely
Barely.
escaped the death vagina.
He lost a
He got
bunch of skin.
skinned.
Yeah.
But he didn't die.
Dexter returns to find Rita sitting in the bedroom of his apartment. Oh boy. His toolbox is pretty much all that's still left in his bedroom. Rita wanted to find out what was so horrible that he had to keep it from her. Dexter opens the box. There's a disassembled rifle in it. Dexter says he wasn't comfortable bringing it into the house with the kids. Never mind the secret panel with the syringes, knives, and bone saw. Rita has had it with his lying. She tells him to stay in the apartment until he's ready to work on their relationship. Which, again, is great. I'm glad that Rita is being assertive about their relationship here. Dexter returns... Go ahead.
I kind of wonder what she thought was in there. Like, was it going to be a body? Was it going to be sex toys? Was it going to be a bunch of football cards? I'm just like, what did she think it was going to be?
Now, remember, she's the one with the basket of sex toys.
That's right. Yeah.
She does mention that she thought he was back on drugs, and that's why he was there. So maybe that's what she thought was inside.
Yeah, syringes would have not looked good then for sure.
Yeah.
Because that's one of those signs. But yeah, it's like it's just a giant black box full of heroin that he got out of Miami Metro evidence lockers.
Yeah.
Claimed it was Deb's, walked right in and took it.
Yeah. This Deb lost her cell phone. Oh, I got it. It's in this giant box. Thanks. Rita. Rita leaves. Dexter returns to the office building. Trinity already has the coffee sales guy in a room somewhere. Dexter uses an elevator trick on the security guard. He finds Trinity on the security cameras, but Trinity has removed the recording device. Dexter rushes outside to catch Trinity, but he makes it to a covered parking lot and pulls away. And then Dexter follows Trinity's van. He ends up following him all the way home, where his wife and kids are waiting for him. Dexter says he's like me. It's the end of the episode.
Yeah, I like this part of it was pretty interesting and definitely brought that tension back to it. Where Rita it was funny that she almost gave him like a free pass to go do Dexter stuff for the night, because it's like you don't have to come home, so you're staying here for however long you need to until the relationship stuff's ready. So he's like, cool, I'm going to go out and do Dexter stuff then. But no, it was like very interesting because he was in there and you expected it to be the security guard. And like the little twists and turns even of this moment is like what makes me enjoy watching Dexter, is because there are those moments, especially when he goes home and we finally see the Trinity Killer's family and you're like, oh, wow, okay, I didn't see that coming either. So, it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a lot of story that they've already put into season 4 in these 5 episodes, and there's so much more left to go. I would say, like, arguably the best part of the season is yet to come. With Dexter dealing with Trinity going forward, so
I'm in.
Yeah, we're at a point in the series for the first time, really, I would say I'm having a hard time stopping. So I'm not just finishing out the season. Like, I'm more focused in and more excited to see what's happening than I have all along, really.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll savor that while it lasts.
I know. Never going to happen again, is it?
No, not really.
Do we really... Here's the big thing, and something I'm super interested in hearing everybody else's thoughts on it. Do we feel this way about season 4 so far? How excited we are about it? Because it's really that good? Or because season 3 let us down so bad?
I think it's that good. I do.
Yeah, it does seem like the writing has definitely gotten better, or the focus is better, the story is better. It's just more appealing, I guess, to have. Also, I like serial killer stuff, and like last season definitely didn't really have any aspect of like serial killer stuff. So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the writing is much better than season 3, and I think the promise of having a high-profile special guest star for your season long with Jimmy Smits did not pan out, but with John Lithgow, it's absolutely panning out. Like
Yeah.
Dexter and Trinity or Dexter and Arthur Mitchell have not had a scene together yet, and everyone is riveted by that character.
Exactly. You know, I love this season. This is my favorite season of Dexter, and it's great, and I'm very much enjoying it. But while I was watching these episodes, everything that kept popping into my head was, "Oh my God, this is so much better than season 3." And I'm like, "Am I enjoying this because it's actually good, or just because season 3 was that bad?"
I think it's on par or better than season 2. To me, I think season 1 is the ultimate season of Dexter, but I think this one's very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely think it's because it is that strong, because I watched first run, as we know, and season 3 I don't remember being as terrible as it was on rewatch, and I still felt the same way about season 4, that it was just so good. So I think it's just really a strong season. It's what Dexter should have been all the way through.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, that like when you're watching the show week to week, season 3 does not seem nearly as bad as it is. But when you're watching episodes back to back, it's like, come on, guys. Like, let's go. Let's move the story forward.
Painful.
Yes, season 3 was a slog, but
This episode was directed by Keith Gordon. This is his 7th episode of Dexter. In season 3, he directed the premiere and finale episodes. This was written by Tim Schlattman, who wrote 2 episodes for all 8 seasons, except for 1 episode in season 5. And this is his first episode for season 4. What's the best line of the episode?
I liked where he said, "I have nothing to hide except the syringes, scalpels, and bone saw." I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that was mine also.
That's a good line. I had one that was close to it, but it was Rita when she says, "The most disturbing thing about your lying is that I'm beginning to see just how good you are at it."
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one.
Like, that's a
Ouch.
deep cut.
Ouch, that hurts.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I really like the second, especially in the second half, like when she just like wasn't letting him off the hook for stuff, when he started doing that whole, like, you know, could probably go for a sandwich, and she's like, fuck you. Like, it's that stuff's really really solid for her to actually have a little bit of a reaction to what's obviously Dexter not being truthful about stuff.
Yeah.
So, how about the worst line of the episode?
Mine was that the extra cop in the evidence locker that says, "You Morgan's in that mouth." That was just stupid. I was like, come on.
I actually didn't write one down for some reason.
I didn't have one either. There was nothing that really stood out to me as a bad line. I really liked this episode and was really pretty into it, and I just didn't. There was nothing that made me groan or ick out.
Yeah, I had to search for that one even, because I was like, after the end of the episode, I didn't have one, and I was like, let me think back. Okay, that one's, yeah. But yeah, I think most of the writing was pretty solid, actually.
We'll just give it to, I'll just bring you a side of tomatoes.
I was gonna say we can just, like, any scene with LaGuerta and Batista, whatever was said in there, that's the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, because he even gets a pretty good line, Angel does, when he's like, the problem isn't that you made a decision. The problem is you made a decision for both of us. Yeah.
Which almost sounds like a line you'd say about an abortion.
Let's please not let's not go there with those two. I don't.
More going on than we even realized.
Do not want an Angel Jr. running around.
Chicky Hines memorial performance of the episode.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Yes. What is the Chicky Hines memorial performance of the episode / non-Michael C. Hall performance?
Can anybody go against Jennifer Carpenter on that? Really? I mean, that would be hard to go against.
Man, I almost gave it to Rita. She did a great job in this episode, but yeah, that breakdown scene was so powerful. I had to give it to Deb.
I mean, if I'd have saw that breakdown scene, I probably would have given it to Deb.
Maybe that's why you didn't like this episode a whole lot or didn't have a lot to say about it, because you didn't watch it.
I think it really works. Thinking about it, it kind of distracts from how little is actually happening there. They're just standing in a parking lot, like, reminiscing about stuff. They're not actually doing anything. Like, she just wants Dexter to come and, like, have a vigil with her in the parking lot in the middle of the day so she can, like, vent and freak out. Which she also isn't driving at this point, I don't think. So it's like, did she get, like, Rita to drop her off at the parking lot? And then she called Dexter and waited for him to get there, like, because she was living at Dexter's house, so it's kind of weird. But it's more like, she's crying, don't think about it. But yeah, I would agree.
Covers up those plot holes.
Yeah, I would agree. Jennifer Carpenter for her performance. So that's it. Thanks for helping me out, guys. Thank you.